He's just turning 19, so he's not even quite 19 yet. We also have another athlete at 17 that is already on the national team. So we have athletes that have the potential to be like Adekuoroye. And you must know that it's taken a lot of nurturing for us to get Adekuoroye to this point. And I think that is where the albatross is. It's how to get them from point A to point B. And that is where the National Sports Commission comes in. That's where corporate interests come in. But unfortunately, corporate interests in Nigeria don't seem to understand the value of sports and what they can get out of sports. Apart from corporate responsibility, social responsibility, the gains you get from funding athletes and athletics, it's enormous. And I think the bigger mistake we make in Nigeria is for potential sponsors to keep thinking that they need to sink in millions of naira to be a sponsor. And I keep giving the example of how when I first started, the grocery store beside me was my first sponsor because they were giving me $30 bus pass to go to training every day. That is a sponsor. If we can have 20, 30 people, some people putting in 200, some people putting in 100, some putting in 500 based on their cash power. Before you know it, we're going to have sponsors all over the place for athletes. But we don't have that sensitization yet, and I think that is what we're still struggling with.
All right, thanks so much, Daniel, for speaking to us. And yes, wishing you all the best as you continue to develop wrestling in Nigeria. Okay, that's it, guys. You said so much. I'm particularly pleased with the training programs they have in place for Oduayo, and it shouldn't be just only Oduayo, but let's also hope that they keep to these words.
I'm happy to listen to him. I'm always happy listening to Daniel anyway. I'm happy that, he's not reading from a script. He spoke from his heart. And the enthusiasm is infectious. And that's what I like. You could always, from the sound of his voice, you could always feel it. And, I hope that the plan spreads. They don't make the mistake that, the AFN, just focusing on one or two athletes. Spread the love, like some would say. Make your net wide. Include. Of course, you know that reality is different from potentials. Oduayo is not just a potential now. It's a reality staring us in the face. It's just down to how well we manage her. Yeah. She's already in medal range, a medal range athlete. You don't know the color of the medal anyway, but you know that in that 53 kilogram category, she could win you something. So, he gave us plan from now till about July. That's detailed enough. That's detailed enough. And nothing else to demand.
That's right.
Just show somebody who is involved, somebody who understands.
Shows their planning.
He doesn't wake up one day.
So what are we going to do?
What are we going to do? The Olympics is 8-9 months down the line. But I'm hoping that other wrestlers too are being catered for, are being given this kind of attention. Because it will benefit Nigeria.
That's right, and we try to understand more about branding, getting independence, because I was speaking to someone, the NSC will not give 8 wrestlers to go to the Copa Brazil, 20 million, but they will give that to what they term football. And I'm saying to Daniel Ighali that they can develop wrestling in a way that corporate sponsorship can come into it. You can even start with Adekuoroye.
I totally agree with you. When we won the Afro basketball, a lot of people, I think Colonel Sam Ahmedu was here and he said he expected that the federation would have used that success, as a springboard,
that's right,
to get sponsorship, try to woo sponsors. Adekuoroye is making waves now. We expect that the federation can also, latch on that and get some corporate sponsors. And she is a woman. Some of these corporate bodies are gender sensitive.
Right.
And Ighali has said it all. You don't need so much. What you need to do, according to your capacity, bring this. If it's fast food for the wrestlers to eat when they are training. Good feeding is also very important.
And be committed to it. If you other corporate bodies who are into one or two things can also bring in their money. But I think the onus is on the federation, to try to convince these corporate bodies, to try to get their support. Because if you sit in the confines of your office or you talk on the pages of newspapers, these guys, it's not official. These guys are not going to act on that. But when you go to 1 or 2 or 3 of them, and the way things work, by the time one sponsors come, it's like
a catalyst effect, some will begin to say, okay, there's really something good in for this company to have identified with this cause. There must be something good in that.
That's right. That's right. So our talk tonight on the show is so every federation, there's a potential of making sure that you cater for yourself. Just look around. What makes your federation good? I mean, basketball won the Afro Basket Championship. That's enough to sell. Table tennis, Adekuoroye. That's something to sell. Wrestling, Adekuoroye. Weightlifting, we have so much. There's the Miriam Usman, the Yakubu, so much.
And good products always sell themselves. You don't need too much of advertisement. Just put it right there in the face of the prospective, is it consumer now or prospective sponsor? Just put it right there in their face. A good product will do the rest. All it needs is just put it in a situation, where people would see and people will see the impact. And like Oye said, look, when people begin to see the mileage that they're going to get from getting involved with all of this, it drags other people in because, corporate organizations might have rivals that will like, oh, this company wants to be the only one benefiting from this. I have to catch in now. And, it's a fertile ground.
But Oye, I don't want us to dwell on it, but it's a charge to every administrator out there because as a growing up child, boxing was so massive. You never get to hear who sponsor a boxing bout in this country. But today, boxing is struggling. Growing up, badminton, Nigeria can bring the likes of Ghana, Togo, Zambia to come and play badminton because we know we'll beat them. So we even bring them here. But today, the story has changed. So something is wrong.
Yeah, I think the economic reality. And you see, the way forward, whether you like it or not, is the private sector. You see, the music industry and the Nollywood industry are typical examples of sectors that private sectors have driven so well. You don't need, what you need is a conducive environment for sports. You need infrastructures.
That's right. That's
like in that stage you have about 5 or 6 stadiums here and there. But the onus is on the federation to go out and when you are making such successes, you need to leverage on it. But you can't just sit down in the comfort of your office. You see, some of these guys contented in spending government money, and there's so much to make if you really invite the private sector. And so I think for sports, even the football you're talking about, we have not even tapped into the full potentials of revenue accruing from football.
But I have a good friend in NSC, so
it's so appalling that even I read some financial reports about how the league is being run in Zambia, in some of these countries that we see as lesser countries, and you see some of the clubs even earn more money than the league body. That's from merchandising, from gate takings, from selling their souvenir. They earn more.
How much? An Orlando Pirate jersey.
Even in Zambia, how much would the league body give for winning the league? But they make much more than that. Because they have seen the possibilities of
it. And if people from outside could read the body language of some of these federations, as in that some of them don't want to be accountable. Because look, I've always believed that
it's a big issue.
It's a big issue. I've always believed that if I throw money at you and I don't ask you to account for that money, I'm equally corrupt. And so, some of these guys would ask questions, we want to see, and probably that's why some of them are like, look, if I'm going to put my money in this, I'm going to see your books. You're going to tell me what, and some,
and they don't want that.
Some don't want anybody breathing down their neck. If it's government money, all you have to say is that the money you have spent it for this and that, and nobody's going to ask you questions. I even think even the government now should start asking questions as to how money is being spent.
I agree. So let's move on. Let's leave that now. Just hoping that someday federations will see the need to understand branding and packaging. Let's talk about the Lagos City Marathon. Last week, Bukola Olokade, I was here. He's involved with this, and it says this tournament will be big. Just to let you know that there are 24 men marathoners and 7 women. I'll call some names: Abraham Kiptum, Peter Kiptum, Kip Lagat.
Okay.
Kip Lagat is part of this. Amos Mittel, Sami Kibed, Simsim Kanan. These are some of the big marathoners all over the world.
From East and Central Africa.
That's right, and they will be coming to be part of this. But the news is that today is the deadline for the submission of forms. But it's good to know that we're giving interest to this now because, I see a lot of Nigerians, jogging, we have endurance, but we're not doing well with the marathons.
I think I'm happy. I was privileged to know when this was at the plan.